Hi, I'm Kevin Groves, Kemetic and Chaos Magic practitioner. I've done quite a few Children of Artists events over the years, and today I'm going to take you through one of my most favourite stories of ancient Egypt. It's a little odd, as quite a lot of Kemetic stories can be at times, and in some ways I thought to think about not doing this one in light of all the events that are going on in the world, but it's still a pretty good story and has a good ending too. Now, I have the musical accompaniment, not a huge amount of musical accompaniment, my shoulder harp. So to add a little bit of pizzazz, maybe, to the story. So, this is the story of Sekhmet and the destruction of mankind. Told ya. You don't want to listen, don't listen. But it's still good. Still good. Ra, sun god, creator of all, sat upon his throne at the stern of the solar barge that sailed from the eastern horizon to the western, and then back through the underworld at night to be reborn again with a new day. He had done this many times since giving up his throne to Osiris, and while Osiris was a good pharaoh, he brought agriculture, law and order to an otherwise crazy world. There was something not quite right. There was a but. And there's always a but. And it's been niggling on Ra's mind for some time as the days and years progressed. But he had a solution. So he called his children, all the gods and goddesses, onto the barge. It's magic. They can all fit, okay? Come, children, for I have an announcement, he proclaimed to the sky. And one by one they all landed upon the barge, wondering what it was that Ra could be about to say. Must be quite amazing if he's summoning everybody. Once the hubbub had settled down, he looked upon his children and laid it out for them. Children, the world is different to where I left it. It is wonderful, but these humans, there's something not quite right with them. They have forgotten us. They have forgotten their gods. They fight, they despoil, they have so many vices, and they forget who we are. They pay us no heed anymore. And this is not right. There were plenty of nods from the other gods and goddesses. Yeah, there was general agreement that, yeah, the humans can be quite entertaining at times, but they have sort of made a mess of things. And perhaps something really should be done. Ra let the chatter subside and quieted everybody down. My solution, therefore, is to get rid of all the humans and to start again. This was a little bit of a shock. They weren't expecting this. Perhaps with a clean slate, I can create humankind again and do a better job this time. Okay, people, the gods were a little bit unsure. And then came the fatal words from Ra. So, of my children, who will do the deed for me? Who will be rid of these humans for me? No one really fancied that, except for one. And the crowd parted. And who should step forward? The sun god's right eye of the sun, of the fierce sun, his daughter Sekhmet the lioness. Fearsome, so fearsome, as fierce as the sun. Everybody parted way for her as she slunk gracefully and silently towards her father, her mouth already open, showing her teeth and saliva at the thought of a hunt. Ra nodded gravely. So be it. You are my hand. You are my hand of vengeance upon the world. Go down, daughter, and enact my vengeance. With a mighty roar, she leapt from the barge and fell to the earth, transforming into a full-sized lioness. But this was no normal lioness, of course, being a deity. This was a huge, as big as a house, and she hit the ground with the force of an earthquake. People saw this monstrosity, this unnatural creature, and they feared. They were very fearful. They were screaming and running for their lives as Sekhmet plodded from town to town, devouring every man, woman and child who stood before her. Soon towns were laid waste. Blood and gore filled all places. It was awful, an awful sight. Even the Nile, the beautiful blue Nile, became red with the blood of these innocent, so the humans thought. And Ra sat upon his barge, watching her progress from town to town. Now, the humans, what did they finally do? They finally found their piety and flooded to every temple they could find, praying to the gods for assistance. But of course, none would dare offer assistance because Ra wouldn't be very happy. The pitiful cries were heart-wrenching to the gods, as Sekhmet just plodded forward on, a wall of death, of teeth and claw. Ra's heart began to soften at the plight of these humans. They had, after all, remembered that the gods were there. Perhaps they hadn't forgotten. Perhaps the gods were impatient, expected too much. Who knows? But they remembered the names. They remembered the rites. And they remembered what to do. Ra felt pity and thought, perhaps I had made a mistake. I would put my hand up to that. Ra thought, even I have mistakes. Sekhmet, he called to his daughter across the sky. Sekhmet, cease your rampage. Return to me. But Sekhmet did not stop. Sekhmet kept on going from town to town, massacring all that stood in her way. Now, Ra kept repeating, each time more urgent than the last. And fear began to feed him. What if he couldn't stop her? There will be no humans left. But he had a thought. My son, Thoth, God of wisdom, you are my advisor. You are more knowledgeable in all the arts and of the strange, unknown things of the world that I have forgotten. Come to me, advise me. What should I do? Thoth considered the options. I'll go down and talk to my sister. She will listen to me. I am such a good negotiator. Or listen to me and my advice. And Thoth, launching from the barge, spread his wings of the abyss and glided down to land behind his sister Sekhmet. He may have been immortal, but he was not stupid to stand in front of her sharp teeth and claws. On the ground, he witnessed the full devastation of her rampage, her bloodlust. It was sickening. Even for him, he could not understand. But he understood his sister. Once she had the taste of blood, there was very little to stop her. Sister, return. Return to us, to our father, Ra. But again, she would not listen. He pleaded and pleaded with her, but she ignored everything as she chewed and ate everything living of meat. Blood was everywhere over the ground. Lakes of it. This was unbelievable. But then Thoth had an idea. I have a solution to this. And he flew back up to the sky, to the barge, to his father. Father, Ra, my sister will not listen to me, but I have an alternative. Give to me 7,000 jugs of beer and the red ochre that scatters over the ground, and I will stop my sister. Ra wasn't entirely certain what Thoth had in plan there, but, you know, any opportunity to stop this hideous rampage. And the jugs were given to Thoth, who took them down in his mighty claws and let out ahead of Sekhmet's murderous rampage. There he broke all the jars, and the beer flooded the sand and desert, with the red ochre scattered amongst the beer. It soon coloured the beer red as blood. And Thoth, quite wisely, took to the sky to observe what his sister would do. It wasn't long before he saw her approach, and her demeanour changed. Sekhmet was oblivious to all of this. Ahead of her, she saw lakes of blood, but it was so sweet smelling. It was different to this rough blood of these mortals. Well, she thought, something different. Perhaps I should try it. After all, I need something different to wash this horrible taste of humans from my mouth. And she lapped at this foamy red blood. That tasted good. She drank more, and more, and more, and she just could not stop. Wow, she started to sway. There's something different about this. But I feel so good. So good. What am I doing? I was supposed to be doing something. Her thoughts were so muddled. She looked at her paws. Was that blood, or was that this blood here? She was so confused. Oh, and so sleepy now. Wow. And soon she just collapsed into the red foam of beer with so many strange thoughts in her head. And soon she was snoring. Thoth was extremely pleased with himself. He had stopped Sekhmet. So, returning to his father, he explained that she is now sedated. Hopefully, her mood will be different in the morning. And it was. At dawn, Sekhmet stood in a very rough set of mind. She did not feel too great. The land swayed ahead of her. The red, which he thought was blood, but she had some vague memories of the previous night. But no, what was I doing? And she slowly slunk away at the sight of humans approaching. They didn't look very happy, brandishing weapons and so on. She had no memory of what caused them to be so angry, and she slunk off back into the desert. So, humans, be thankful for beer and all forms of alcohol, because it does have a place. Thank you.